Right. So 21:30 sharp GMT +1 here in Tunisia time, France time. Okay. So hello everyone and welcome to our free PMP training based on the PMBOK 8 version. We've been having this habit of conducting a free training every Ramadan, every year. So this year we wanted to share this training since PMBOK 8 was officially released by PMI in November. And a lot of people who either know PMI and the previous version or versions of the PMBOK, or people who don't know PMI, who don't know the PMBOK, but a lot of people have expressed interest in learning about the updates or what's new in project management, since a lot of project management practitioners on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on other platforms have talked a lot about this project management body of knowledge, 8th edition. And a lot of people, whether they have experience in project management, I know that probably the vast majority of the people who are joining this session and probably will join also the next sessions are already people who are experienced in project management. Probably some of them or many of them have already had the PMP exam preparation course or any sort of project management course or training. Okay. But a lot of people know, and I will also share this with those who don't know, that the Project Management Institute, PMI, they usually release an updated version of the PMBOK every almost 5 years. Why do they do that? That's because project management evolves. And we're going to talk about that. Okay, we're going to talk about what's this PMBOK 8 bringing new, like what's new in this PMBOK 8. Okay, personally, when I went through the PMBOK a few months ago or maybe a year ago, I loved many things in this book, in this version, because it actually takes care of areas and aspects that we need in business, not just as project managers or project management practitioners, whether we're program managers, portfolio managers, project management office, etc. But even as whether we call it humans or companies, because in this book there is, uh, let's say, this book pays attention to sustainability, to environment, to the technological advancement, such as the AI practices. Also, this book, let's say, listened a lot to what the project management practitioners really wanted to have in this 8th version compared to the previous 7th version, especially those project management practitioners who have been in the industry for quite some long time. Let's say people who already know version 6, version 7, even the previous versions. Okay. So I think this book, let's say, it responded to a quite big percentage of what people wanted to see and have. And whether you already know PMI and PMBOK versions, the previous ones, or not, let me tell you, people missed the ITTOs. Okay, we're going to talk about the ITTOs probably in session 3 of this free training, but the inputs, tools, and techniques and outputs, which some people missed in the previous version 7, even though the PMP exam still, which is right now running now we are just in the last few months of the current version of the PMP exam, it is based on PMBOK 6 and 7, because this PMBOK 8, it will come into effect in the PMP exam starting July, even though the exam is officially based on the ECO. We will explain all of that. So please, everyone who has just joined this session and is interested in pursuing with us this journey of these 6 sessions together. I will explain them in a while. Please bear in mind that maybe some of the stuff we will share here, maybe you know it because you know PMI. Okay, even though this is probably one of the first training based on version 8 in the world. But maybe if some of the stuff we will say here, maybe if you know even some of the stuff, it's fine because we promised people who either know PMI or don't know PMI, either know PMBOK or don't know PMBOK, or either know PMP exam or don't know the PMP exam, or people who are interested in other project management certifications offered by PMI. We promised all of these people that in session 1 and even in the next sessions, we will cover the content as if you're freshly joining the world of project management. And even if you've been here with us, you're going to enjoy this session and you're going to enjoy the next sessions. So, for those of you who know me, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Ahmed bin Hamouda. I'm originally from Tunisia. I am based currently in Tunisia. I've been in the project management industry for nearly 2 decades. I've worked mainly on international level for international companies, and I've had the luxury or the privilege of working on projects through waterfall methods, projects through adaptive methods, agile methods. I have applied also hybrid project management for the past 11 years, 10 or 11 years in my career. And I hold a number of project management certifications. I am certified as a project management professional, PMP, since 2012. So almost 14 years since I got certified. And when I got certified, at the time it was PMBOK version 4, even though I started in project management in 2007 when it was still version 3. And I can tell you, once you read the project management body of knowledge, and most importantly, once you practice it, once you work in an environment which encourages you to practice what you've learned. When you work in an environment which provides you with the templates exactly as the book says, the tools exactly as the book says, the authority exactly as the book says, the setup, like the entire project management office setup exactly as the book says, and then the roles, there is sponsor, clear role of the sponsor, clear role of the stakeholders of the project team. You're the project manager, you work in a project-based organization or projectized organization, etc., etc., etc. We will go through this in session 2 of this free training. Okay, then when you find yourself doing all of that correctly, properly, you can really practice risk management the way you should practice it, stakeholders engagement the way you should practice it, develop team development or leading the team the way you should do it, etc., etc. Then that's when you become a huge enthusiast about project management, and you become thankful for having organizations like PMI or any other organizations that help you know how to manage projects properly in the right way, so you can really, with your team, create and deliver the value that is expected by the requesters or by the stakeholders. And through that value, you contribute to the organization's strategy or expected benefits. All right. Um, so um, now this training, this small training of 4 sessions, it is actually part of the larger PMP training based on the PMBOK version 8. And together with my team, and I want to thank my team, all of the people in my team, Hannah, Marwa, everyone else, really, Khalil, everyone else. I want to thank everyone else who have contributed or who has contributed to the creation, not only to this content for these free sessions, but for the entire content of the PMP PMBOK version 8 training, because the entire presentation of the full 35-hour training is almost 1,000 pages. almost 1,000 pages, as it contains technical project management content, which covers the different performance areas and the different methodologies. I will go through the full training table of content, and also the full PMP version 8 training contains hundreds of slides with practice questions and hundreds or tens of slides with tips and tricks and many other content. Okay, so the full training, the full 35-hour training of the PMP PMBOK 8 exam preparation course is almost 1,000 pages. Now, these 4 sessions we will have together, we try to summarize as much as we can because they're going to be just 10 hours. Okay, and then there will be 2 additional sessions about Primavera P6. We will talk about them in a while. All right. Okay, so the full training, just for you to understand now, based on the PMBOK 8 full training, what is the table of content? Now, in the full training, of course, people will have an explanation of the ECO, the exam content outline. This is the PDF, the small PDF of 40 to 50 pages, on which the PMP exam is based. Now, PMI offers a bunch of certifications. The Certified Associate in Project Management, CAPM, the Project Management Professional, PMP, the PMI PMO, CP, the Program Management Professional, the Portfolio Management Professional, the Risk Management Professional, the Agile Certified Practitioner, the Professional Business Analysis, etc., etc., etc. And for each certification, there is an ECO, a document which explains what is the content of the exam. And of course, one of the most famous ECOs from PMI is the PMP ECO. All right. So the full training, chapter 0 is about explaining the ECO. Chapter 1, this is an introduction to the performance domains. Now, the new performance domains, okay, offered by PMI, and the focus areas. Okay, not knowledge areas. Actually, it's a focus areas. Mistake, sorry. It's focus areas. The introduction to the performance domains and the focus areas. All right. Chapter 2. Now, this is something new, which PMI introduced in the PMBOK 8, which is explaining the mindset. PMI reshaped the principles because in the PMBOK 7, there were, I think, around 12 principles. Now, PMI narrowed them down to 6 principles. We've had actually a series of live sessions. If you guys remember, in December and early January, we had, I think, 5 live podcasts with the people who wrote the PMBOK 8. The core team, the 12 people, almost the 12 people, were our guests. It was an amazing series of podcasts. Okay. And they in one of the episodes they explained how did they go down from 12 principles to 6 principles. I recommend everyone to go back to my profile and watch it. The mindset, now PMI and the PMBOK 8, it explains the mindset. This is something very important for people to know, to understand. We'll go through that in details in the full training, and we will touch on that also in this in these 4 sessions. And the system for value delivery. And I think the system for value delivery, the emphasis on creating and building an entire system which makes sure that the value is being created and delivered that fits with what is expected, what is requested, what is wanted, and also it fits with the organization's strategy. I think this is one of the best things you could see in this book, even though it's not new. It was mentioned in the previous version, okay, but now in this version it's been emphasized and enhanced. Okay, then in the full training we go through the business environment. Okay, even now this is a separate domain in the exam. Okay, we will go through that. We will go through managing the project stakeholders, since the second domain in the exam is about people, together with leading the team. And then the next chapter is number 6, is about the predictive project management. Now, in the predictive project management, we will go through the entire cycle. I mean, I'm talking about the full training. We go through the entire cycle, right? What does that mean? It means we cover for the performance domains, whether it's scope, whether it's schedule, whether it's risk, whether it's finance, etc., etc., etc. We will go through those performance domains in this free training together in one of the next sessions. And then we cover also the adaptive project management. Okay, and then the hybrid project management, which these two they together account for nearly 60% of the questions in the PMP exam, chapter 7 and 8. So there is an important emphasis on them as well. All right. And then there are enhanced practices in the PMBOK version 8, mainly related to the PMO, okay? And it will be very interesting part we will share with you in this free training, and also how to use AI in projects. And, surprisingly, let me say this, surprisingly, I've run a poll. I think it was yesterday on Sunday. I've shared the poll on LinkedIn, and I asked people what would they be interested the most in learning, in this free training. And I gave them a few options. Okay, is it like what has changed in the PMP exam? Is it the new process mapping table? Is it how to use AI in projects, or is it the system for value delivery? And more than half the people, 51% of the people, answered that they're mostly interested on learning how to use AI in projects. Why? Because everyone knows this is trendy, this is useful, this is important, and everyone knows that now PMI, slowly is, integrating AI into the work of the project manager, because AI can help us automate work, fetch data quickly, get quick insights, take data based decisions. So this is so important. And yes, in the new PMP exam, there are nearly 5 questions, a little more maybe, about how AI can be used by the project manager to effectively manage the project. Okay, mainly to gain time, right, to save time. And then we want to talk, in particular about procurement, even though it is no more part of the performance domains, not like before, when it used to be part of the knowledge areas and the PMBOK 6. Now, but they put it in a separate appendix. There is not much emphasis on it, but we'll go through it. Okay. And then chapter 11 is about the exam tips and tricks, which is quite an important one. Today, one of the students who passed the exam today, passed successfully, got the certification today, got out of the exam room, told his colleagues in the WhatsApp group, the private WhatsApp group we have, he told them this, guys, go to chapter 11. I mean, the current version. They're still studying with the current version. It's also it's actually chapter 12 of the current version. He told them, go to tips and tricks, understand them exactly as Ahmed explained them, because they will help us really, pass the exam successfully. And then finally, we added chapter number 12. Now, in the current version with PMBOK 7 and 6, tips and tricks, exam tips and tricks are chapter 12, but now we changed the order, and of course we updated the content, because chapter 12 is about general practices with tools, with practices, case studies, etc. Okay, to help people have hands-on practice. Now, this is the table of content for the full training, the 35-hour full training. And as I said, there is a mistake here, chapter 1. It should be performance domains and focus areas, not knowledge areas. I will correct that, make sure that I correct it when I share the couple of slides with you guys. However, we can go now through the content, which we will have in this free training together. Now, first of all, this free training during this month of March is going to be 6 sessions. As we have announced in the first post, we're going to have 6 sessions, 4 sessions dedicated to the preparation of the PMP exam, and 2 sessions will be dedicated to the practical side in Primavera P6 with my colleague Rami Tmar, who is based in Saudi Arabia. He's also Tunisian. Funny enough, he's from my city. And I think we live in the same neighborhood somehow, even though we probably never met, because he's, I think, younger than me. But he lives in Saudi Arabia, and he's really a very, very talented guy. And I salute him already now, Rami. Thank you so much for being part of this. I'm sure people will enjoy so much what you're going to bring them, in regards to Primavera P6. So a big shout out to my colleague, Ramit Mar. Right. So now, what's the program for this free training? Now, today is session one. All right. Today, we're going to cover the exam content outline, the ECO. All right. We're going to talk about the changes in the PMBOK 8 compared to the previous versions. We're going to talk about the domains explained, and I think this is the most important part, because let me tell you this, guys. Now, many people think that the PMP exam is based on the PMBOK. Well, it is true, but not 100%. What does that mean? PMBOK, yes, contains everything you need to, if you want to understand project management the way PMI describes it. What matters the most for you when preparing for your PMP exam is the ECO, that small PDF which explains to you what is the content of each domain, of each task, of each enabler in the exam. Okay, and then of course, we as project management trainers or experts, it is our role to go through the PMBOK, to go through other books such as the Agile Guide, for example, okay, from PMI as well, or any other books, and then bring you all the knowledge in one presentation, which you need to understand, so you can succeed in managing your projects, and also which you need in order to succeed in the PMP exam. So then you won't have to read any book, all right? In session one, also, we will cover the eligibility and how to apply for the PMP exam and the types of the exam questions. Now, this is what we're going to cover in today's session. Okay, nearly 50 slides or 50 plus slides, almost in each session, almost. Okay. Then on Wednesday, on the 4th of March, on Wednesday, at the same time at 21:30, we will have a PMBOK 8 overview. We will go through the new concept, a very interesting one, to be honest, shared by PMI. We will explain more. You will discover what more is about. We will go through the project management principles, the project management mindset, okay, as explained in the PMBOK 8 by PMI, and also we will cover the performance domains, the 7 performance domains. Then session 3 will be next Monday. Please, next Monday on the 9th of March at 21:30 as usual, GMT +1. Here we will go through value creation in projects. And I think this is the heart and the core of the PMBOK 8, because what PMI wants to make sure is that whoever works on a project or is assigned on a project, or whoever is involved in projects, they will know how to create and deliver value, whatever that value is for the requester. The requester could be a sponsor, could be a customer, could be stakeholders, could be the organization, could be external users, etc. Okay, because that's what we need to care about: how to create, deliver value together with the team in respect to certain constraints around us, using different tools, etc. So we will understand the difference between benefits and disbenefits, how to define a business value. We need to understand the system for delivering value. All right, the entire system, which goes from the projects to the program to the portfolio to the entire PMO to the strategy of the organization to the external, internal factors, etc. And then how can we define projects' success criteria? So this is for session 3. For session 4, which will be Wednesday next week on the 11th of March, always at 21:30 GMT +1, here we're going to talk about the difference between the different project management approaches. Okay, first we try to understand the functions of the project manager, and then we will have a glimpse look at the predictive life cycle, the adaptive approaches, and the hybrid project management. Okay, so this is my part. These 4 sessions are presented by me. Okay, and then on 23rd of March and 25th of March, we're going to have 2 sessions with my colleague Ramit Mar. All right, and they're about hands-on practice, in Primavera P6. So, session 5 will be about scheduling foundations, how to build a reliable schedule, understand the critical path method, how you can what is it like exactly, and how you can use it in Primavera P6, best practices for scheduling, and then here's the most important part, which is setting up a project. Okay, and Rami will help you understand how you can download Primavera P6 for free and how to set up your project in Primavera, etc. And then session 6, which will be on the 25th. Sorry, both sessions on 23rd and 25th are at 7 p.m. GMT +1. Okay, not 9:30 p.m. Actually, 7 p.m. The session 6 will be about schedule analysis, resources, assigning resources, estimating resources, and updating in Primavera P6. So, checking the quality and credibility of the schedule, fundamentals of resource loading, how to make a progress update and forecasting, and then the practical side, which is how to make a schedule analysis. Okay, this is the hands-on. So these are your 6 sessions in this free training. Okay, we hope that you're going to enjoy this because we really have dedicated a lot of time and a lot of passion to this. All right. Now, let's start with an overview of the PMBOK 8th edition. Okay. I think PMI has put a lot of effort when creating this 8th edition of the project management body of knowledge. It's for the first time in my career, almost 20 years of career in project management. It's for the first time I see PMI involving as many people as it did, publicly, opening the PMBOK for public reviews, getting feedback from hundreds and hundreds of project management practitioners, taking a lot of input into consideration. I told you guys, we've had the privilege of hosting almost the entire core team who wrote the PMBOK 8 in our podcast sessions, and they explained the entire process of selection of the core team, of getting feedback from the reviewers, what to include, what not, etc. This is the most evidence-based revision today, to be honest. And I think the community on LinkedIn is the most favorable one, the luckiest one, because most of the PMI's updates they go through mainly through LinkedIn. Okay, this version 8, it is inclusive. It includes almost all the industries, most of the approaches. Okay, the community is very global, very international. People from almost 200 countries and territories have contributed to this, and also the huge focus on value and value proposition, creating and delivering value, because it's the heart and the essence of this version. Let me tell you a secret. Okay, let me tell you something. I've started practicing project management in 2007. At the time, we had PMBOK 3 as the current version at the time. And in that current version, there was not much emphasis and focus on creating, delivering value. I think until version 5, maybe also version 6 somehow, the main focus of the project manager was follow the process. Following the process. Okay, there are certain steps, certain processes you need to follow in order to look like a professional project manager and someone who knows what to do. Really, there was not much focus on the value. It started in the last few years, in particular with PMBOK 7, which focused a lot on that. Yes, in PMBOK 6, there was a little focus on value, but it was emphasized more with PMBOK 7, and then PMBOK 8, of course, more and more. Right? Now, what has changed? This table might not help people who discover project management for the first time. I tell you, when I started in project management in 2007 with PMBOK 3, to be honest, I did not know what was in there in PMBOK 2 or 1, even though I know PMBOK 1 was totally different in the form and the way it was presented. But for me, when I started with PMBOK 3, for me that out. Sorry, sorry. I think I had a disconnection. Okay. I hope you can still hear me, everyone. Can you still hear me? Can someone write me on WhatsApp? Can you still hear me, everyone? Is everything okay? Just if someone can write me on WhatsApp, please. Hello, everyone? Yeah? Okay. Yeah? Okay. Okay, thank you. So now let's explain. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, I had sort of disconnection. I'm sorry for that. I sort of had a disconnection. I'm very sorry for that. So let's go. Let me explain. Let me explain something. Let me explain something. What's the difference between version 6, version 7, and version 8 for those who know project management, for those who know the previous versions of the PMBOK, for those who discover project management for the PMBOK for the first time? This right part of the table, this is what matters the most to you. But for those who have been in the project management industry with PMI for at least 5 years, they probably need to know what's the difference between this current version and the previous versions. Okay, now in terms of principles, version 6 didn't really focus on principles, but version 7, it had 12 principles. Okay, but then version 8 came to narrow them down to 6. Okay. And again, as I said, we've had a very nice podcast with the core team who have explained why did it go down to 6, and why those principles in particular, which of course we will see and we will cover together in the next sessions. Okay. So from 12 principles down to 6. Regarding the performance domains, in the PMBOK 6, we've had what we call knowledge areas. And that was the terminology we have used in PMBOK 6, PMBOK 5, PMBOK 4, PMBOK 3. We call them knowledge areas. Sometimes they were 10, sometimes they were 9, a little less, a little more. But in version 6, there were 10 knowledge areas. Such as integration, management, scope management, schedule management, cost management, quality management, resource management, communications management, risk management, procurement management, stakeholder management, etc. So those are the 10 knowledge areas we have in the PMBOK 6. In PMBOK 7, we don't use the term knowledge areas anymore. Actually, we use the term performance domains. And in PMBOK 7, sorry, there are 8 performance domains. All right, stakeholders, team, development approach, then planning, performing the work, managing uncertainty, reporting on performance, okay, etc. So those are the performance domains. And in PMBOK 7, now here's PMBOK 8, sorry, and in PMBOK 8, here's the interesting part. We still kept the term performance domains, but we sort of went back to how they were presented in the PMBOK 6. So yes, we kept the terminology, performance domains, but more, it's kind of more similar to what we had in version 6. So, but instead of 10, now we have 7. Okay, like governance. Now we call them governance. No more integration. Governance. We call them scope, schedule, finance, risk, etc. Okay, we will cover them one by one in this free training. Okay, so with the PMBOK 8, we have 7 performance domains. Now those 7 performance domains in PMBOK 8, same as in PMBOK 6, they are mapped in a table. Okay, and we always tell our students, who are taking the PMP exam, we always tell them, please make sure you memorize that mapping table, or we call the process table, the process group table in version 6, or the process mapping table, or the mapping table in version 8. Okay, why? Because you need to understand the different performance domains, the focus areas now with version 8, and the 40 processes in that table. Okay, because that mapping table, it covers all the processes inside those 7 performance domains. And those processes in version 8 are 40. Now we have 40 processes. We're going to look at them one by one in this free training. It's very important that you understand this. What are those processes about? Now let me take you back. For example, when I started learning project management with version 3, you see, I did not study project management at the university. Yeah, we a little bit, but we didn't have clear processes, clear steps, just overall a little bit. When I started working, and I was enrolled in training by by the company where I was working, and they were teaching us the PMBOK version 3 at the time. It helped me, that mapping table, that process groups table, it helped me understand what does the project manager do, or what needs the project manager, do, or to do. Okay, and it helped me understand the different processes that I need to carry out as a project manager in order to be able to successfully manage my project. So PMI in the version 8, they narrowed those processes down to 40. Of course, they took out some performance domains, such as procurement. Procurement was there almost all the time. Now, procurement is no more part of that mapping table of those performance domains. That explains in part of it why it's 40. No more 49 like in version 6, but 40. That's part of it. It's not the only one, but part of it. Okay, quality as well, for example. Also, we're going to go through that in the next sessions. Now, for the life cycle of the project, PMBOK 6 defines 5 process groups, and it's been the same almost forever. Now, in PMBOK version 8, we call them focus areas. We don't call them process groups anymore. We call them focus areas. That's why I said here there is a mistake. I will correct it in this part for the full training, chapter 1, introduction to performance domains and focus areas, not knowledge areas, actually focus areas. Okay. Now, something new in the PMBOK 8, which is the inclusion of the AI. This is the technical ways of working. It's more of, there is an entire appendix. It's not a long appendix, a few pages appendix, but I really like it. When I went through that appendix about AI in PMBOK 8, I really liked how it was presented, how it was explained, what AI can do, how AI can help us, etc., etc. So I really appreciated that a lot. Now, let me tell you something. Everyone who's been in project management for more than 5 years, who actually started applying at least PMBOK 6. Now, PMBOK 6 was released almost 10 years ago. PMBOK 6 was released in 2017. I think it was in September 2017, maybe. Okay, maybe a little earlier. People who have started, or have joined project management at least with PMBOK 6, maybe earlier with PMBOK 5 or PMBOK 4 or earlier versions, they know that we missed the ITTOs, the inputs, tools, techniques, and outputs in version 7. In version 7, it was of a different setup, totally different setup. Okay, so many project management practitioners and project management professionals have called on PMI, have asked PMI to put back the ITTOs in the PMBOK, and PMI responded to that. The core team responded to that. So the core team, they decide that they want to, based on the feedback from people, of course, they will put back the ITTOs because project management practitioners and professionals, they want to have that. The ITTOs, for each process of those 40 processes, so each one of those 40 processes is explained through a table where for each process you understand what is the input. It could be a document, it could be a tool, it could be a practice. What are the tools and techniques to be applied in that process? Okay, we'll go quickly through that in the next sessions. And what is the output of that process, and that output of that process, it could be an input for a following process, or an input for a number of other processes. Okay, there is no necessarily a chronological order between the different processes. I'm talking about these 40 processes. There is not necessarily a logical order or a chronological order between the processes, even though when you start managing the project, you will understand that actually some processes come before others. Now, in the full training, we will not have the chance to go through that in these free sessions. But in the full training, already since session 1, we explain to our students, whether in the current version with PMBOK 7 and 6, or in the future version with PMBOK 8, we explain project management in a form of a story. Okay, and actually with version 8, this new version, we have enhanced that. So already from the very beginning, from the first session of the training, not only we explain to our students that this will go through like in a story, but actually we take a real example of a project, and it follows us throughout the entire chapters, the entire training, from one chapter to another. Whenever we touch on some new part of the training, we go back to that example and we explain how is that applied in that example of that project, which we took as an example. From the moment, we define the project, how, what is the expected value, how it contributes to the organization strategy, the business case. It was based on the study, the feasibility study, and then how this the governance, the definition of the scope, the project management approach, the project itself, which we took as a story. It covers hybrid, it covers adaptive, it covers predictive, and now it's a very, very interesting way of teaching project management, because we wanted to mix both the technical knowledge, or the knowledge for the project management knowledge, with practical story to help people memorize the different parts of the training, and not only just prepare them for the exam. Now, the PMBOK 8 is not so thick. It's not as thick as the version 6, which contained 793 pages, not as small or thin as version 7, which has 370 pages and several pages are empty. Actually, PMBOK 8 is a little over 400 pages, and it contains a lot of valuable information. Yes, a lot. Now, let me tell you something. That you need to understand, guys, especially those who have been in project management for quite some time. Now, PMBOK 8 is not cut enough. It's not like, disrupting totally what we have seen in version 7 and version 6. It's a continuity. Version 8 is a continuity of what we have seen in version 7 and 6. It's just with, it took into consideration what the community has asked for to see, okay? Like getting the ITTOs back, getting the mapping table back, for example. And also it follows the advancements the world is going through. Like, for example, integration of AI, advancements in the role of the PMO, the sustainability of the environment, for example. Now, this is something so important, yes, for our children, for our life, for our future, for our earth, okay? And a lot of different practices, okay? So version 8 has come to enhance what we've seen in version 6 and 7, and bring up new topics which are quite important for companies and for people and for life. Okay, so that's why many people were satisfied with PMBOK 8 and what it has presented. Okay, all right. Now moving on to the next session. All right, when will the exam change? This is an important question many people are asking. Okay, so the current exam version, which is based on ECO 2021, the exam content outline 2021, the current exam version is valid until 8th of July. let's say we told our students till the end of June, okay, officially until the 8th of July, right? Because starting the 9th of July, 2026, the new exam will be based on the new the new exam version will be based on the new ECO 2026, which will be valid from 9th of July. Now, however, PMI has announced already in December 2025 that if some students want to take or try, not take, try the exam based on the new version, they could do so for free. PMI offered, I think, few weeks to take the exam for free. And PMI promised those people, if you fail, you can go take the exam based on version 7 free of charge. Okay. And those who, after January 2026, let's say in February or in March or April, who decided to take the exam based on the new version, okay, they could do so, even though they will get the results probably. I mean, the report of the results after July. They could get the results whether pass or not now, but the full report they will take it after July. But let me tell you this: it's true that you can try the exam with the new version based on ECO 2026, but this is WIP. WIP means work in progress. PMI has not yet finalized the questions 100%. It's still in trial period, okay? Because it takes some time, some effort, some contribution from people, those exam takers, to be able to really help PMI understand how the PMP exam should look like, how the content of the questions should look like. And we will cover that. We will cover that in this session because PMI has presented part of that in the new ECO. Okay, you can have more details on PMI's website. Okay, so far, let me tell you this. So far, during March, April, May, and June, okay, I'm not counting the first week of July. During these 4 months, I encourage everyone to take a training based on the current version 6 and 7, based on ECO 2021, because to be honest, this version is very well understood by everyone, every trainer, every expert. The exam has become so easy. I mean, I didn't say PMI has made the exam easy, but because we, the trainers, we have mastered this version, so we are making the exam so easy. At least, for example, for my students, the success rate is so high. You can even check our page on LinkedIn, Ben Hamuda Consulting, not my page, our company's page, Ben Hamuda Consulting, and you can even see how many people are passing the exam and are successful and got the certification every day. Okay. Regarding the full training, in the month of April, at the end of March, on 30th of March, I mean, almost the month of April, we're going to have a full training still based on version 6 and 7, because some people asked us, to add another group based on version 6 and 7, okay? But after April, we will go with version 8 because our training content for version 8 is almost ready, and we're so enthusiastic to really share it with people who will enroll in it. Okay, we will share more details on my page on LinkedIn. Okay, all right. Now, how many people actually are certified as PMP holders or project management professionals? China is leading the way with more than 560,000 people holding the PMP credentials. Then United States, it makes sense because it originated from United States, almost 440,000 people. Then Canada, yes, Canada has been for long, in the top three with over 100,000 people. Now, this data is from today, 2nd of March, all right? India, I think India soon will take over Canada because a lot of people in India actually are getting their PMP certification so easily, which is amazing. Almost 100,000 as well. Then, now the surprise is Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia, 5 years ago, it was not even half of this number. I think it was 21,000 5 years ago. Now it's 55,000, almost 56,000 PMP holders in Saudi Arabia, in one of the most growing areas in the world in terms of PMI certifications. It's actually number one, Saudi Arabia, in a number of certifications that such as probably RMP, maybe the PMI, PMOCP, etc., etc. Okay, then Japan was I think it was the fourth, then the fifth. Now it's sixth. Okay, 54,000. Now United Arab Emirates also, it's a hot region for PMP certification and other PMI certifications with almost 22,000. Egypt, my God, it was a surprise for me today. Yes, I know a lot of PMI and PMP certificate. I mean PMI certifications, not just PMP, but PMI certifications are quite popular and famous in Egypt. I didn't expect it to be, growing this fast, to be honest. And I want to thank all the project management trainers, all the project management experts, and in all these regions, really, who are sharing valuable knowledge with their students. And you can see, guys, go on, go to LinkedIn, and you can see how many people from, India, from the Middle East, from United States, etc., from Canada, who are sharing valuable free knowledge with people. I salute all of them. Thank you, everyone who are contributing to the, to sharing knowledge, project management knowledge and insights. Then Germany with almost 20,000 as well. Brazil, 15,000. Of course, then there is Spain. There is also France, 9,000. Spain, almost 14,000 or 13, yeah, almost 14,000. And Tunisia. Tunisia is a small country in terms of population. It's a developing country. Tunisia is not a rich country, but I think Tunisia is trying to do well. And in terms of percentage of growth, it's been growing a lot, Tunisia, in percentage. Now we have 1,715 people PMP certified in Tunisia. 5 years ago, Tunisia had almost 300 people. So almost 500%, 500% growth in 5 years. That's amazing. Yeah, an amazing effort for people from my country. All right. Okay. By the way, guys, we are not going to have a break in neither of the sessions because each session is 2.5 hours, and I try to be, as smooth as possible. So no breaks, please. And by the way, please stay tuned. There is a code. There is a code in red color on one of the slides in each session. You need to write down that code because tomorrow, Tuesday, I'm going to share a summary post of this session. And in that summary post, there will be a form to fill out. And in that form, you need to enter the code. So then we make sure that you have really attended this session. Okay? So you can qualify for that training completion certification, for the different gifts we're going to give, and I will explain to you later. Okay, so please stay tuned, don't leave. Make sure that you have a pen and a paper. Whenever you see the code, it's one code per session, one code per session. Once you see the code, write it down, don't lose it. You can take even a screenshot, a photo with your phone, but please don't share the code publicly. Don't share it in the group, on the WhatsApp group. Don't share it on LinkedIn, because we really want to make sure that only people who qualified, only people who really attended the sessions, the 6 sessions, they qualify for the certification. Please don't share the code publicly, in respect of our effort and in respect of everyone's effort and time. Thank you so much. Now, let's go and talk about the PMP exam, and let's start with the changes. All right. Now, let's speak a little bit about the exam structure and the time of the exam. Okay, let's start with the current version 7, like the ECO 2021. And the current ECO 2021, the PMP exam, we have 180 questions and total duration of 230 minutes. So a little less than 4 hours, 3 hours and 50 minutes. Okay. And in the current version, there are 2 breaks of 10 minutes each. Each time, after each 60 questions, you can take a break of 10 minutes. And we always encourage our students to take the break so they can refresh, they can go to the bathroom, they can breathe, they can relax, they can drink something, eat something, because in the exam you're not allowed to drink, eat anything, etc. In the new ECO 2026, the exam content outline 2026, PMI has kept the same number of questions, which is 180 questions, but it has slightly increased the time. So instead of 3 hours and 50 minutes, now we talk about 4 hours. And it has kept the two 10-minute breaks. Okay? The two 10-minute breaks. All right. Now, in the current version with PMBOK 7 with ECO 2021, you could take a break after 60 questions. Each time you finish 60 questions, you take a break. However, in the new ECO 2026, so far, and I say so far because I'm almost certain it will be better defined or refined in the next few months. With the current ECO 2026, PMI doesn't explicitly say that you can take a 10-minute break after 60 questions, but it says the following. You can take a 10-minute break after the case study section. The students who have taken the exam, the trial version of the new exam, they've noted that the first break, okay, after the case study section, it came after about almost 60 questions. That's why we say almost 60 questions. Okay? All right. So almost the same setup like the current version. It makes sense because it's not exactly 60, by the way. It's a little less, okay, for the first for the first break, but we just write almost 60 just to keep it the same form of the current version. Now, the same as the current version with the new exam, once you take a break, you can no longer go back to the previous questions to check them. So, the break is the point of no return. You cannot go back to the previous questions to check them because, once you take the break and you come back from the break, you have to move on to the next set of questions. Now, so the second 10-minute break, PMI writes officially that it's midway through independent questions. What does independent questions mean? It means like the questions which are not related to a case study. Okay, because once you take a break, you can no longer go back to the questions of that case study. All right, and the second break happens after almost at the question, not exactly 120, almost 120, 125, 120, 118, depends, really depends. It's not fixed so far, exactly fixed like in the current version, but I think to be refined, it will be, I think, almost fixed. Almost, okay, I say almost, because, for the case study section, it's not like all the 60 questions are about case study. Actually not, okay? Not the entire 60 questions, almost 60 questions in the first part of the exam are about the case study. Actually, the case study section is a few questions, 5 to 10 questions. On average, it's 5, but it could be 5 to 10 questions covering a case study. And I think it's smart. And to be honest, even before the ECO was released, personally, in my training, in my PMP training, I have since August last year, so way before the ECO was released, I have already changed my version 7 PMP version 7 training content, and I have included a case study in each chapter with 4 questions to answer. Okay, and I did that since August last year because I knew there will be case study in the new PMP exam, so I was already preparing people. Even though people who studied with me in August, September, October, November, December, they already took the exam, most of them, and they already got certified. I think most of them, maybe some still did not take the exam yet. Okay, but I wanted to prepare myself and my team for this new update. Okay, and then after the second break, you finish the remaining questions, and again, no point of return. Sorry, this is the point of no return. You cannot go back to the previous questions, and then you click on submit. Once you finish all the 180 questions, you click on submit, and then of course you will pass and get your certification, whether you take the exam at home or in a test center. Okay, we make sure that you will pass and get the certification. So this is the change. This is a very important change, really. 4 hours, no more 3 hours, 50 minutes. Same. PMI at the beginning wanted to actually to go with 185 questions, but then they revised that and kept it at 180. I'm not going to explain, the difference between the 170 questions and the 10 questions, marked, non-marked questions. It's not an important information for you. What matters for you is that it's 180 questions. And what's new, the biggest change is the case study part, along with few other new question types, which we'll go through them in this session. Okay? Now, here comes the most important part of this session. Now, this is the most important part, which is the ECO, the Exam Content Outline 2026. Now, this is a big shift. And to be honest, and I hope that there are some of my students who are present and listening to this to either confirm or not confirm what I am just about to say. Okay? In the past, I think a year and a half or a little longer, I've said it to my students. It's a pity that the current ECO 2021 version, business environment in the current 2021 version, okay, or the old 2021 version, is business domain or business environment domain in the exam accounts for only 8% of the questions. And I was saying this to my students. It doesn't make sense to me. Yes, I respect that. I prepare my students based on that. But as a project manager, actually need to know much more about your business environment because your project is being impacted by the business environment much more. And there are a lot of different practices you need to learn as a project manager if you want to succeed in your, in your project and with your project. And then a few months ago, when the new ECO 2026 was released, I was so relieved when I saw that the business environment domain is actually no more 8%. Now it accounts for 26%. Now this is amazing. That's exactly what I wanted. Okay? I mean, yes, people are important, processes are so important, but so does the business environment. So is the business environment. It's so important. So in the ECO 2021, business environment domain accounted for 8%, people domain accounted for 42% of the exam questions, and the process domain accounted for half of the exam questions. But now with the new ECO 2026, business environment, now it accounts for 26% and 8 tasks. It used to be 4, now it's 8. People domain now accounts for 33%, so 1/3 of the project management. 1/3 of the project management is about people. Now, I've seen many people on LinkedIn who say project management is all about people. No, project management is 1/3 about people. That's the accurate percentage from practice. Since day one in my life in project management, I was taught this 20 years ago. I was taught this. 1/3 of your project of your time you spend 1/3 of your time as a project manager managing people, dealing with people, team, stakeholder, management, etc. 1/3 of your time you spend it in meetings, in documentation update, meeting minutes, etc. And the third part of your time, the last 1/3 of your time, you spend it tracking your project progress, checking what your team is doing, changes to the plan, etc. Okay. Now this is almost reflected here. That's why people domain now is 33% of the exam questions, which means 60 questions. 60 questions in the PMP exam are about people. Communication, resolving conflicts, emotional intelligence, leadership, using power, etc., etc., etc. And it's 8 tasks now. It used to be in the ECU 2021, it used to be 14 tasks. Now it's 8 tasks only. And the processes, now the process domain, it's 41% of the exam, no more half of the exam, it's 41% of the exam, and it's 10 tasks. It used to be 50% of the exam in ECO 2021 and 17 tasks. Now it's 10 tasks and 41% of the exam. What are processes about? Risk management, change management, scope management, using tools, templates, defining scope, etc., etc., etc. Now we are going to go through this in detail. However, let me emphasize on this once more. Many people don't pay big attention to the ECO when taking the PMP exam. Now, we have to emphasize on this again. Please, you really need to understand every single word in the ECO, whether it's 2021 for the current version, and we have many videos on YouTube on that, or you can, join one of our training, or actually the new ECO 2026. You really need to understand every single word in it. Okay? Now, let's deep dive inside or into each domain one by one. And let's start with the business environment domain, which accounts for 26% of the questions in the PMP exam. Here we're going to talk about strategy, compliance, benefits, changes in the environment, regulations, etc. Okay, and let me tell you something from my own experience. From the early days of my career in project management, um, my mentors, my coaches, my bosses, okay, they told me that, or they taught me that focusing on business environment is so important. You need to understand your environment, the factors, and what's happening in your environment, because anything could impact your project. A regulation, a law, a change in technology, an international environment. Sorry, an international event like what's happening right now in the world. And I want to take the chance here in this live session to really salute my friend and my colleague, Ruzbeh Qutubzadeh, who is one of the leading people in the PMBOK 8 core team. So he is one of the 12 people who are the PMBOK 8 core team. Ruzbeh is Iranian from Iran. He's not right now in Iran. And I want to wish him all the safety, all the health, him and his family and all the people in everywhere in the world, not just Iran, but everywhere in the world. And really, his contribution to the PMBOK 8 and of those five sessions in our live podcast, his contribution was huge and tremendous. And actually, those podcasts were run together jointly between him and I, and also with my colleague Daniel Hamoza. Okay, so now what's this domain about? The business environment in the ECO 2026, the exam content outline 2026. Now, there are 8 tasks in this domain. Now, when we say tasks, we mean what you as a project management practitioner need to know or need to practice. Okay, preferably need to practice, so to be able to manage your project successfully. And they are not put in order. These tasks are not in order. They just mentioned one by one. So task one is about defining and establishing the project governance. All right. So here, when we say project governance, we're talking about the rules, the structure, the procedures, the policies, which you as a project manager need to follow, whether it's a project governance, whether it's a PMO governance or organizational governance, and usually those you find them in the organizational process assets. Guys, some of these terminologies might be new for you. For some of you, these terminologies are new. For some others, they are familiar with these terminologies. Here we are only going through the ECO, fully explaining OPAs and governance, etc. We will do that either briefly in this free training, or in depth in details in the full training. Okay. Also, regarding the subject of the project governance, you need to define the success metrics. How would you know if your project was successful or not? And also, you need to define, and I think this third point is the most important one. you define the escalation paths and thresholds. When should you escalate to the sponsor or to the management or the steering committee, and when should you not? What would you do if you escalate, and etc. Okay. Task two is about planning and managing the project compliance. PMI, already since version 7, maybe a little earlier, has emphasized a lot on compliance, that your project is compliant with security, health regulations, safety regulations, sustainability, regulatory compliance, laws, practices, etc. All right? Because a project that is not compliant is a rejected project, is not a successful project. So actually, compliance should be part of your success metrics. Okay, is your project compliant? Yes or no? If yes, you're getting closer to having a successful project. Okay, classifying the different compliance categories, determining the potential threats to compliance, how to deal with them, then using the methods to support compliance, make sure that you really make your project is compliant. What would happen if your project is not compliant? Also, in the current version, there is quite some emphasis on this, but I think it's more in version 8. Then how to address the compliance needs and define to which extent the project is in compliance. Okay, so compliance here, governance here, then changes here, managing, controlling changes coming from the business environment. Now, why it matters to understand changes coming from the business environment? Now, imagine you're working on a product. This product is addressed to the entire market, and you've based your project plan on a study, which you conducted on your market, let's say 6 months ago. However, something changed in the market, and the user's preferences and the user's needs, etc. Would that affect your project or not? Absolutely yes. So this is why it is so important for you to manage and control changes, not only just coming from your business environment, even changes coming from within your environment, like your project, but managing changes now, it's part of the business environment. So how to follow the change management process, what to do with the proposed changes, the process for approving changes, and updating the documentation to reflect the changes. Okay, again, not just changes coming from the business environment, but also how to deal with changes in general. Okay, in the project, the change management process, which we used to call the integrated change control process in version 6. Okay, the PMBOK version 6. All right. Then task 4. This is very important for you to understand, guys. Okay, this is why I'm going through these tasks one by one. It's really so important for you to understand them. Okay, task 4 in the business environment is about removing impediments and managing issues. Impediments means blockage. Okay, so you as a project manager, you need to proactively define or identify impediments, spot them right when they are still a risk, try to remove them, try probably to reduce their impact. Okay, or prioritize the impediments based on maybe impact, based on impact on value, etc. What would be your intervention strategy to either remove or minimize these impediments? Continuously reassess these impediments, blockers, these obstacles, and when there is a risk, recognize it, all right, before it becomes an issue. Okay, and you need to collaborate with the different stakeholders in case you need any help to resolve the issues. For example, in case of escalation, if an issue is way more powerful than you, or it surpasses your power as a project manager, your level of authority, that's when you need to involve relevant stakeholders. All right. Then risks. So here is risks. Planning and managing risks. Now, this is task 5. Risks can come from the external environment, can also be can come from the internal environment. Okay, so this is about managing risks, how to identify risks, how to analyze risks, how to monitor risks, evaluate risks, develop a risk management plan. Actually, this should be the first point here, but we are following what's written in the ECO. So developing risk management plan, maintaining a risk register, then executing the mitigation plan or the action plan, okay, and then communicating the status of risks. Now, let me tell you this. I'm going to tell you a secret, guys. I haven't said it before. I'm going to say it now. Many people, almost on daily basis, they approach us and ask us for an RMP course, risk management professional course, like the certification from PMI. Now, let me tell you a secret. Uh, our students who passed the PMP exam, who took the PMP exam and passed, actually, many of them went for the RMP exam, and they did not need almost they almost did not need any additional course on RMP, because actually the way how we prepare the risk management of chapter, okay, in our PMP exam, it's enough to cover also for the RMP certification. Okay, our risk management chapter is very thorough. It covers almost more than 90% of what you, I mean, not just the RMP, not just the risk management chapter, but the entire PMP exam, especially the risk management chapter, it covers really for almost 90% of what we'll see in the RMP certification. So that's a good thing. And we're going to enhance that even in version 8. Okay. Why? Because risk management is so important. You know that project fails mainly due to issues. But why those issues were not foreseen? Why were they not identified in advance? That's because there is no strong or efficient risk management process and knowledge in the project. So that's why, not, I mean, at least for me, and this is coming from my practice, for me, I always emphasize on risk management and the importance of risk management. And even my students, even if some of them are already with us in this training, they know this sentence. I told them this sentence. In each group I taught, I repeated this sentence. Risk management chapter is my favorite. I love it because we can omit or get rid of most of the blockers of the issues once we have identified them as early enough as risks. Task six, which is quite an important one, it's related to the mindset of the project manager, is the continuous improvement. Okay, applying continuous improvement. Okay, documenting lessons learned, defining improvement actions, okay, and making sure that those lessons learned are reflected in the organizational process assets, the OPAs. Okay, now we call this the continuous improvement. All right. Task 7, that's about supporting organizational change. Okay, now organizations go through changes, either transition from one project management methodology or approach to another one. For example, from being predictive, or from applying predictive approaches to adaptive approaches, or even transitioning from, let's say, a functional organization to a project-based organization. So you, as a project manager, need to support that organizational change. This is not a new task. It also exists in ECO 2021. Okay. And then task 8, finally, which is evaluating the impact of the external business environment changes. Okay, so here in task 1, task 3, sorry, this is the change management process in general, and task 8, this is the changes in the business environment and how it impacts your project. So you need to survey changes coming from your external business environment, like market, user preferences, geopolitical conditions, like what's happening right now in the world. Actually, what's been happening forever in the world, technology, regulations, new laws, etc. Assessing those changes and prioritizing them based on their impact, and you need to know how to deal with them. Okay, so this is, in summary, what the business environment domain in the exam is about. So let's summarize that. So, 26% of the questions in the PMP exam are from the business environment domain. The PMP exam, the version 2026, there are 3 domains. The first domain is the business environment, and there are 8 tasks. And as you could see from these 8 tasks, they put you really in realities which the project manager need to go through and need to understand. Because many people who study project management, they think project management is just about learning processes in chronological order, applying those processes, and if the project fails, it's not their mistake because they apply the processes perfectly. That was my mistake in my first project. That's what I thought until my mentor taught me this. Ahmed, your project is not in isolation from its environment. It's connected to the environment. So you need to watch after your environment because it will impact your project. Okay? All right. Now, let's move on to the second domain, which is people. Now, this is 1/3 of the exam, 60 questions. And the PMP exam are about people. Okay? And now we're talking here about team, leadership, stakeholder engagement, resolving conflicts, etc. These are the main topics related to people. Emotional intelligence, of course, yes. Now, there are 8 tasks now related to the people domain. Okay, 8 tasks. Task one is about developing a common vision between the key stakeholders, making sure that all stakeholders have the shared vision. And in case of any misunderstandings, we break down the situation in order to understand why is there such a misunderstanding between the stakeholders. So, dealing with the stakeholders, very important for you as a project manager to make sure that stakeholders really understand the vision of the project, they have the common understanding, so they will not then, cause troubles to you later on in the project. Task two, and I think you will see many questions about task two, which is about managing conflicts. There will be conflicts in your project. Conflicts between stakeholders, between you and stakeholder, between team members, between team member and stakeholder, etc. Okay, so you as a project manager, you need to identify the root cause of conflict, understand the context or analyze the context of the conflict, then try to apply some of the conflict resolution techniques. Okay, we know there are different techniques, mainly applying face-to-face communication, direct approach, negotiation, etc. Okay, you need, as a project manager, need to establish an environment that fosters adherence to common ground rules between team members mainly, okay, so they can respect each other, respect the rules of work, okay, and in case of any violations of those rules, you need to know how to deal with them. All right. Now, let me tell you this. Some people were surprised that in the PMP exam, we actually touch on things, on points that some people thought we would never touch on them, like basic communication rules, ground rules of collaboration, managing emotions between team members. Yes, we do. That's an important part. We need to learn in project management, extremely important part. Okay, because project management is not only about applying processes, using tools, delivering value. It's about 1/3 of project management. 1/3 is about dealing with people. Okay, and people are humans, and humans can get angry, can get happy, can get dissatisfied, can get demotivated, can have misunderstandings, whether it's stakeholders, team members, etc. You need to deal with that. Yes, it's part of your work and your job and your duty as a project manager to really have a coherent team, a team where there is a good spirit, a positive spirit. It's your role to keep your stakeholders engaged, enthusiastic about the project, etc. So yes, that's part of what you need to do as a project manager. Yes, so we go back to basic things we learned probably since we were kids, but then we thought in a professional environment we shouldn't care about that, because I've seen in many projects, in many teams, when two team members have a quarrel or they disagree or they have a conflict, the other team members, they don't intervene. They, each one of them says, I don't care, it doesn't concern me. I don't have anything to do with that. That's wrong in PMI's mindset. At least for you as a project manager. We will see that in the full training. Then task three is leading the team. Okay, establishing and managing expectations at the team level. One of the most important things you need to do is empowering your team. Okay, give your team enough power, maybe to take decisions or to carry on with work, or etc. Resolving problems. You need to represent the team. You should be the voice of the team. If your team tells you there is a threat implementing a certain solution or doing certain deployments, you need to make sure that your stakeholders or your sponsor or your steering committee, they understand that. So you are the voice of your team. You're not, we saw with the product owner in Agile that the product owner is the voice of the customer, but here with the new ECO 2026, you are also the voice of the team. Okay, you represent the team. You need to support the team's experiences, skills, perspective. You also need to know which type of leadership to use depending on the situation, depending on the person you're dealing with. Okay. And you need to make sure that roles and responsibilities among the team members are pretty clear so no one gets confused and everyone will know what is expected of them to do in the project. This is so important. This is something that you will enjoy as a project manager. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. I go in details on this in the full training, but let me tell you this. I have seen project managers who have learned project management by the book. They really know every single letter, every single word in the book, but they were not successful with their teams. Why? Because their personality is different. Those um, project managers, they are sorry, sorry. I think I had disconnection. Sorry. If this will happen once again, I will change my connection. Okay. So I'm very sorry for that. I think I had a disconnection. I will repeat what I stopped. Okay. And if this disconnection will happen again, I will change my network. Okay. So let me tell you this. I've known project managers. I've known project managers who really, know every word in the PMBOK, but they were not successful with their teams. Why? Because they didn't have the courage to ask their team members what's wrong with them, check on someone who doesn't feel good, apply emotional intelligence. So they were not successful because being successful as a project manager, it's not enough to know the book. It's also to know how to deal with people and with your team. Your team are your success. Task four in this domain, the people domain, is about engaging stakeholders. Now, this is one of the toughest things you need to do or you can do as a project manager. First of all, to identify your stakeholders, analyze your stakeholders, understand their needs, prepare an engagement plan, apply that engagement plan properly and correctly, keep your stakeholders engaged based on their level of power, interest, influence, etc., and check on them and make sure they really do what they're supposed to do for the project and get what they're supposed to get from the project. Okay? All right. So this is one of the toughest things you need to do as a project manager. All right. So keep that on mind. Optimize alignment among the stakeholders, understand their communication preferences and needs, and build trust with them. Okay. And also influence stakeholders in a positive way to keep them focused on the project objectives and accomplish project objectives. Task five is about also stakeholders, about aligning their expectations. All right, facilitating discussions with them, understand their expectations, and even provide some mentoring opportunities. Task six, managing their expectations. First of all, identify internal and external customer expectations, then align and maintain the outcomes to internal and external customer expectations. and this is a tough one, okay, because in the new PMP exam based on ECO 2026, there are new types of stakeholders introduced in the exam, and even the scenarios, the question scenarios are little different now. I think more interesting because they are deeper. They're deeper in how they touch on stakeholders internally and externally. Okay, and also how to monitor the customer satisfaction and our expectations and respond to any updates or any updated expectations once they arise. Okay, so tasks 4, 5, and 6, they're related, and that's why in our full training plan we focused a lot on stakeholders and managing stakeholder engagements. All right. Task 7 for people is about ensuring knowledge transfer. Knowledge transfer, when you have people joining your team, people leaving your team, people have accumulated critical knowledge to the project. So you need to make sure that you make sure that that knowledge is transferred and is kept in the project. You don't want to lose valuable knowledge because someone who's been for long in the project and left the company or left the project, and we don't want to lose that knowledge. And finally, task 8, and again, this is not in order, is about managing communications. Communications is about meetings, is about reporting, is about sharing information. Okay, so you as a project manager, you need to have a communication plan. You define the communication strategy first of all, and plan based on your stakeholders' needs, based on your team needs. In your communication, you need to promote transparency and promotion and collaboration. Okay, make sure that you have open feedback loops, welcome feedback for improvement. Okay, then you check on the stakeholders' needs. What would they like to see in the reports? Not all the stakeholders have the same needs. Their reporting needs are different. So you make sure that you align your reports, up to the stakeholders' expectations. A sponsor might need a very detailed report, but other stakeholders might need just an overall information, for example. Okay? Uh, Sorry. I just switched my connection. I hope we will not have any disconnection anymore. Okay? Sorry, I just switched. Now let me explain to you. You see all of these tasks in the people domain and the business environment domain. You see all of these tasks. All of these tasks in the full training, they're reflected, first of all, in the different slides in each chapter. So in each chapter, we make sure that we cover all what we need to cover in relation to what's mentioned in the ECO, and also in the practice questions and the mock questions. And the mock questions we have either in the whether in the training presentation or in the exam simulator, our exam simulator, we need to make sure that we really cover each of these tasks properly. All right. So this will be uh, covered in our training, full training presentation in details. All right. Now let's move on to the process domain. Okay. Now the process domain, of course, it covers 41% of the questions in the exam. Now, why is the process domain the largest one? Well, it makes sense because traditionally the role of the project manager is about following processes and applying or using tools and techniques. That's traditionally, okay? So that traditionally, that's the role of the project manager. So the process domain is about the tools, techniques to be used, the workflows to be followed, and the approaches or the methodologies to apply on the project depending on the project needs. Now, this domain has got 10 tasks, okay? Task one, of course, I think is the most logical one, the most obvious one, which is choosing the proper project management. Uh, let's see. Oh no, first we start with the integrated project management plan. Yeah, creating the project management plan, which is how you're going to manage your project, depending on the project needs, project complexity, project magnitude. All right. Then choosing the project management approach. Are you for this project going to use predictive approach, or adaptive approach, or hybrid approach, for example? Okay. Um, and then determining critical information requirements like for sustainability. Are there any sustainability needs, for example? All right. What would be the project execution strategy? All right. And that's also something you need to determine in developing and integrating the project management plan. Then you create the project management plan, which is a document in which you explain how you're going to manage the project. Then you estimate the work effort, the resource requirements. You assess or you consolidate actually you consolidate the different project plans and dependencies. Now we're talking about scope plan, schedule plan, finance plan, risk plan, etc. Okay, and you check dependencies, gaps, and of course, the continued business value how to be delivered, how you can maintain and integrate the project management plan throughout the project life cycle. All right, because it's true you will develop a project management plan, but maybe your plan will need to adapt depending on the changes coming along the project's way, for example. Okay, and then how to make informed decisions based on data. Now, this is something important. Already, PMI started emphasizing on this in the current ECO 2021 version, but now it's even enhanced with the ECO 2026. How to make informed decisions um, and using different technologies for that, such as AI, etc. Okay, so this is task one. A task one is one of the largest tasks in the entire training, and we go deeply through this, not because we want to help or we want to prepare people for the PMP exam, but because we think this is one of the most essential tasks every project manager needs to do. Okay, so that's why we focus a lot on task one in the full training version. Task two is about defining, developing, and managing the scope. Okay, obtaining agreement on the scope and break it down. Task three, of course, we will see the different tools here in the full training. Task three is how to ensure that delivery of the output is value based. Okay, with prioritization of the requirements based on value to be delivered first. So first of all, check with the stakeholders the value of the different requirements and different components, then prioritize the work based on the value and get stakeholders' feedback. Then assess opportunities to deliver value incrementally, if possible. Okay. Again, between brackets, if possible. Sometimes it's not possible, but mostly in the PMP exam in ECO 2026, and it's the same like in ECO 2021, the priority is for the incremental delivery because incremental delivery helps stakeholders get early value, right? Then continuously examining the business value throughout the project because in the PMP exam with the current version, there will be questions with situations where there are changes in the environment which impact the business value. So you need to figure out or find out about those changes, know how to deal with them, understand their impact on the business value. Because let me tell you something from my work as a product manager. Years ago, whenever we have a change request on a project, we evaluate the impact on the schedule, on the cost, on the scope, but we really never, and the change template in the project change request template, we never really had a section for the impact of the change on the business value. We did not really define business values. We did not say it like literally business value. We didn't call it business value. We just evaluated a project change on scope, schedule, and cost mainly. Okay, but now with the ECO 2026, even more than the ECO 2021, and the change request template has been updated. The change request template has been updated to reflect on the to add a section impact on business value. Okay, so it's so important. Okay, something else so important, which is tracking benefits, whether through the benefits management plan or the any other tools for tracking the benefits through a measurement system. That's a very good one. It helps know, are you really going the right way, the right path to delivering the expected value or not. Okay, and then you as a project manager also need to assess different delivery options in order to demonstrate value. If your stakeholders are in a hurry and they want to see early value delivered, what you need to do, and if they are, for example, if they prefer to have the full package, the full value together, what would you do? So, um, so this is how you can evaluate the different delivery options. Task 4 is planning and managing resources. So you need to define the resource needs based on the requirements. Which resources do we need? When do we need them? And here we're talking about the human resources, non-human resources. Okay, and then manage and optimize resource needs and their availability. Task 5 is about procurement. We talked about this earlier. We said procurement is no longer a performance domain and the process mapping table. It's in a separate appendix and the PMBOK guide. Okay, this is not something new. It was like this before, I think, in one of the previous PMBOK versions. Now, procurement is all what you need to purchase or acquire or rent as equipment, material, etc. So you need to plan your procurements, have a procurement management plan, pick the preferred type of contract, evaluate your vendors, select your vendors, then make sure that procurement agreement objectives are met. You as a project manager need to participate in negotiations in procurement. Then award the contract. Not you as a project manager, but probably the procurement department. They will award the contract, inspect the delivery of the contractor or the supplier, etc. Okay. Task 6 is about planning and managing finance. Now, this is something new. In PMBOK version 8, we use the term finance. We don't say cost, we say finance. All right. And in the next sessions, when we deep dive into this performance domain in particular, we will see that there are a couple of new processes, quite interesting ones, which actually are worth looking at. Okay. What is planning and managing finance about? Analyzing financial needs of the project. Okay. Like, for example, financing the project, where we're going to get the money from or the finance from. Check risks related to financial allocations, quantify those risks. There will be some calculations here, okay? And contingents, quantify risk and contingency for financial allocations. Plan how you're going to spend the money and how you're going to track the money throughout the life cycle. Planning, reporting on financials, monitoring financial variations, managing financial reserves, and anticipating future financial challenges. Okay. This part here, there is some calculations, some formulas, and it's interesting to learn this. Task 7 is about optimizing the quality, dealing with quality of deliverables. All right. So basically, quality management of the deliverables. So first of all, understand the quality requirements for the deliverables. You need to check that with your stakeholders. Then you plan for the quality processes and tools. Again, depending on the approach, whether it's waterfall or agile, we deal with quality differently in waterfall and agile. All right. Then make sure that your deliverables and your work is really compliant. Manage the cost of quality and sustainability. Have ongoing quality reviews, quality checks, and implement continuous improvement. Very important to implement continuous improvement. Then schedule management, and this is mainly in waterfall, not only actually, partially touches on agile as well. All right. So select the development approach. Prepare the schedule based on the selected development approach. If it's waterfall, if it's agile, coordinate with other projects and operations in case their work interferes with your project schedule, especially if you're sharing resources. Estimate the tasks. Okay, it could be estimation in terms of story points, defining dependencies, relationships, milestones, etc. Using historical data, creating the schedule, baselining the schedule in waterfall, getting it approved, executing the schedule master plan, and check for any schedule variations. All right. Then task 9, evaluating the project status. And this is one of the toughest ones, one of the toughest tasks that you need to learn as a project manager and you need to practice as a project manager. Okay. Developing assessment metrics, tailoring the needed artifacts, make sure the artifacts are created, reviewed, updated, documented, making sure the artifacts are accessible, assessing the current progress, using different metrics, measuring, analyzing, and updating the metrics, communicate the project status to the relevant stakeholders, and continuously assess the effectiveness of artifact management. Quite an interesting task. It shows really how strong project manager you are. And the last task here in the process domain, okay, is closing the project in a correct administrative way. So first you need to document lessons learned, obtain stakeholder approval, check what your project has delivered and compare to the success criteria, validate the readiness for transition, whether to operations or to the next phase, and close the project in a correct way. Okay. Now we tried to go through these 26 tasks, which are part of these three domains. So in the PMP exam with the ECO 2026, you will be assessed on these 26 tasks. So let me tell you something before I move on to the next slide. Let me tell you something very important. PMI, the way it prepared the exam, it's less and less probable that people without any experience, by just reading a book or by reading a presentation, will be able to pass. It's less and less probable. Actually, 99%, if not 100%, of the questions in the PMP exam are situational. So it's a project situation. That situation can cover any one of these tasks from any one of these domains. Okay, and the situation sometimes can cover even more tasks from a couple of domains. Okay, and you really need to understand project management. So let me give you an advice, everyone present in this training. Whenever you decide to join a training to prepare for a PMP exam, make sure that that training will help you both succeed in your projects before even succeeding in your exam. Because succeeding in your projects, managing your projects according to that PMI mindset is what will make the PMP exam easy for you, but also what will guarantee that you will succeed in your current project and in any future projects you will work on in any company. Now, this is regarding the ECO. So the exam officially is 40% of the exam questions are about predictive waterfall or traditional questions, and nearly 60% are about agile and hybrid. Now that's officially. It can be a little different. So far it is with the trial version, with the ECU 2021, ECU 2026, with the trial versions, it is exactly like this. And I think PMI will keep it this way. Okay. Now, are you eligible for the PMP exam? This question we get on daily basis, almost on daily basis. Now, what are the eligibility requirements for the PMP exam? It's so easy, and PMI made it so easy. PMI made it easier actually with the ECO 2026. Now, in case you have a high school diploma, okay, you need to have 5 years of non-overlapping project experience in project management. PMI says experience leading projects, where leading projects are being parts of projects. And you need to have that experience, those 5 years of experience in the past 10 years. Before it used to be past 8 years. Now it's past 10 years. So if we are in 2026, you can, in your PMP application, you can mention projects you worked on 10 years ago, which is fine. And you need to have 35 hours of project management training. Or in case you have an associate's degree, like, 2 years or 2 year university study, okay, then you need to have 4 years of non-overlapping experience, also the past 10 years, plus the 35 hours of project management training. And in case you have a bachelor's degree or higher, okay, bachelor's degree, master's degree, etc., then you need to prove that you have 3 years of non-overlapping experience leading projects in the past 10 years plus 35 hours of project management training. Now, this is so good. It wasn't like this before. Before, you need here for bachelor's degree, you need to have 3 years of experience, and you go back 6 years maximum. And we didn't, there was no distinction before for associate's level, but now, there is high school, associate's level, and then bachelor's level or higher. This is so good. PMI made it easier, really easier for people like this. And I think now everyone can go for the PMP exam. I think almost 99% of the people can go for it. All right. Now, what does overlapping experience mean? For example, let's say you have managed in your career 3 projects. Okay, as you can see here, there is an overlapping period between project 1 and project 2. Well, in your PMP application, we cannot count both projects 1 and 2 fully, because project 1 lasted for 3 months, project 2 lasted, let's say, for 2 months. Project 1 lasted for like 5 months, and project 2 lasted also for 5 months. However, you cannot say, oh, yeah, I have 10 months of experience between these 2 projects. No, actually, you have 6 months of experience only, or 5 months of experience. Okay, because that common period, it will be counted only for the first project or the second project, but most probably for the first project. Okay, no overlapping, please. Plus, PMI made it easier for people. Now we can go 10 years back in our experience. So actually, you can bring up any project from 10 years back. All right. Now, how to submit your application for the PMP exam. First of all, you will need to start with creating your PMI account, your free PMI account. Just head over to PMI's website, pmi.org, okay, and start creating your account. It's like free account. Put your name, surname, country, region, email address, password, blah blah blah. You check these boxes here and click on register now. Okay, you have to enter a verification code, which will be sent to your email address, maybe. Okay, and then you click on continue. You do that, it's for free. And then whenever you're ready, you can decide to apply for the PMP certification. Applying for the PMP certification is for free. It's 100% free. You go to PMI's website, you go to certification, then PMP, you click on it, and then this screen appears. Of course, the exam price depends on your region. For example, here for Tunisia or for developing country in general, it's $284 for the exam without membership, but with membership is $413. You click on apply now. For the rest of the world, it's mainly or mostly $575. It can be a little higher in if tax is applicable for Europe, for example, or Canada, etc. All right. Then, when applying for the PMP exam, first thing you need to do is, documenting your academic education. What is your academic level of education? For example, in case you have a master's degree, engineering degree, bachelor's degree, high school diploma, associate's diploma, etc. So when did you start studying? When did you finish studying? Name of the university, the institution, then field of study, and you save your education. Okay, try to be as accurate as possible when filling out these details. Then you have to also document your professional education. So, did you have training? Was it live and instructor led? Yes, it was live and instructor led with a trainer. For example, provider name, Ben Hamda Consulting, course title, PMP exam preparation course, month, year, and then qualifying hours, 35 total hours, and you click on Save Education, for example. Okay? And then the most important part here is about documenting your project experience. Now, this is pretty easy, even though some people find difficulties doing this, but it's actually pretty easy. What you need to put here before writing on the website of PMI, because actually you could save and leave the website, and then you can come back and complete the application whenever you want. Okay, take a piece of paper and write down 2 or 3 projects you want to put in your application on a piece of paper. Write the project title, project name, the organization. Okay, in which company did you work? Your project title, the job title. Like, it could be project manager, it could be team leader, it could be head of department, it could be anything. Okay, most people put project manager or project coordinator, but mostly project manager. The functional reporting area, like in which division, on which department, in which industry does your company work? Then, what is the approach or methodology of the project? Is it agile? Is it waterfall? Is it hybrid? Project team size, and then you have options in the drop-down menu, and then the project budget. Okay, and for the project budget, you don't have to be exact. It just give you ranges up to 1 million, then 1 million to 5 million, then 5 million to 10 million, then 10 million plus, etc. Then the project dates. When did you manage these projects? Okay, and then here you put the project description. So, of course, we help you with that, and we have even videos on YouTube, which in which we explained how you summarize the experience, whether it's an agile experience, it's a waterfall experience, and don't forget to add the project objective and the project outcome in that paragraph. Just one sentence about the project objective and one sentence about the project outcome. All right. So we document a couple of experiences. We recommend always posting or applying, with 2 to 3 projects. One project is not enough. PMI would probably reject one project. More than 3 projects could be exhausting for you. 2 to 3 projects, as long as you accumulate 36 months, in case you have a bachelor's degree or master's degree or engineering degree or equivalent, okay? Or 4 years in case you have associate's degree, or 5 years in case you have a high school diploma, okay? And then you submit your application, okay? Of course, but first of all, here you have to enter some details, like where do you intend to take this exam? So put there your company, the country of your location, like put their location, country of your living, where do you live if you want, or where do you intend to take the exam? For example, you could intend to take the exam in Germany, but your citizenship is Tunisian. So when you put citizenship Tunisian, first of all, you benefit from the discount, okay, of offered to your developing country, if it's a developing country. And second, your citizenship will appear on the certification. Okay, so actually, if you go, for example, to our page on LinkedIn, go to Ben Hamouda Consulting, not Ahmed Ben Hamouda, no. Go to Ben Hamouda Consulting on LinkedIn. and check the certifications of our students, you will see in each certification there is a citizenship where that person is actually from. Okay, so you put there whatever citizenship you want to appear on your certification. Okay, and then here you will add details about your government issued identification entry, like your official name on the ID, like on your passport, first name, surname, any middle names, birth date, for example, then your address, where do you currently live. For example, if you're from a developing country but you live abroad, you could put your address in your developing country if you want, or you could put your address abroad. Depends. Really depends on you. Uh, if you if you put your address in your developing country, it will help you benefit maybe more from this discount. Try to be as honest as possible if you want. Okay, and then uh, PMI will ask you if you need any special accommodation for your exam. Okay, if you have very special needs, etc., you could say yes or no. Then you check these boxes for the terms and agreements, and then you click submit application. Now, once you click on submit application, you will wait for a week. It's 5 business days to 7 business days waiting for PMI to get back to you. Okay. Now, 90% of the people, they go through the application, but around 10%, around 10% of the people are selected for audit. Now, what does being selected for audit mean? Doesn't mean you're rejected. It simply means PMI wants to verify your data. So they will ask you to upload your diploma, whether it's a high school diploma, university diploma, etc. They will also ask you to upload your training certification, the 35-hour training certification from Hamada Consulting. And they will ask you to add a reference, like a name, surname, and email address for each project. You can put there the name and surname and email address of your manager, of your colleague, of a customer you worked for. Doesn't matter. Okay? Anyone who can verify your experience. Now you click on submit. You do that in a few minutes, uploading your diploma in original language. If your diploma is in German, you upload the original diploma. If it's in Arabic, you upload the original diploma. If it's in Chinese, you upload the original diploma, just in the original language. Same for the training certification. Okay, and for the reference, whoever you put there, they will receive an email from PMI. That email tells them, hey, this person is applying for PMP exam. They said that actually they have worked on this project. They did this and this and that. Do you confirm? Yes or no? And that person will have to confirm, and they can also add their electronic signature, right? So this is so the audit process. Usually you've got 90 days to complete, but usually people complete it, submit all of these documents and data in a couple of hours, and then after 5 to 7 days, PMI would give you the okay and approval on your PMP application. So being selected for audit is a very, very normal step in the process. And you're not selected because you live in certain country or because you have certain name or you have submitted certain type of projects or types of projects. No, it's just random. It's a random selection, right? Good. Now, after your PMP application is approved, then you can move on to paying for the PMP exam. Okay. It's $575 for people in the United States and some other countries, $413 for people coming from developing countries. That includes the 1 year membership. Okay. Membership by itself is $139 for first time. A renewal is $119 for membership. Okay. And then once you get your PMP certification, you will renew it for $150, renewal fee for the certification. Worldwide, $60 for developing countries. And to renew your PMP, you need to collect 60 PDUs. A PDU is a professional development unit, and that's after you get your PMP. After you get your PMP, okay, you need to earn 60 PDUs. A PDU is a professional development unit. Like, you need to prove that you have studied further, you attended other training, other workshops, you read books, you delivered training, you conducted work as a project manager, you helped your colleagues learn project management, etc. Every activity you do counts toward your PDUs. In our company, Ben Hamada Consulting, we provide you with PDUs. Okay. So you need to collect 60 PDUs every 3 years. It's so easy. We have created videos, a video about that, and we have it on YouTube. So easy. Okay, so continuous education. And then before your PMP expires, you pay $150 or less in case you have already accumulated 60 PDUs and you renew your PMP certification. PMP certification is renewed every 3 years. Every 3 years it should be renewed. Okay, in order to have an active status. When you are renewing your PMP certification, you will not take another exam. PMI will not really ask you any questions. They can verify your PDOs though, in case they suspect that maybe you're not writing the right thing. But usually they just they trust that you're acting professionally and ethically. Okay, it's really only in rare cases that PMI checks on PDOs from reported PDUs. Okay, you can read the PMBOK and report the 24 PDUs, for example. You can watch a course on risk management and report, I don't know, 8 PDUs. You can earn PDUs different ways. Okay, we will share with you next week how we can help you earning PDUs through our PMP Digital Companion. Okay, all right. Now, once you pay for your PMP exam, then you can schedule. You can take the exam either in person, in a test center, or at home. Okay. Um, we will not go through that in details. All right. But um, our job, or we are doing our best to make sure that you pass from the first attempt. Every person is entitled for 3 attempts for the PMP exam within 1 calendar year. 3 attempts are allowed within 1 calendar year. Okay. If someone fails all 3 attempts, which is something that almost never happens, at least with us. I mean, in my entire career, probably 1 or 2 people only failed the exam 3 times, maybe, among thousands and thousands of people who took the exam. I think only 1 or 2 people, maximum 3 maybe, failed the exam. One because he had cancer, he couldn't focus. Another person, she had, let's say, personal issues which impacted her studies. And the other person, which is the funny one, the other person, every time he tells me, Ahmed, I'm ready. Ahmed, I followed the preparation plan. Ahmed, I did exactly as I tell you. The moment I did exactly as you told me. The moment he leaves from the exam, he tells me this. Ahmed, it was so easy. I say, great. Did you apply the mindset? He says, yes. Did you do this? Yes, 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 yes. And then suddenly he fails. And till this moment, I never understood why, even though we really, I mean, we checked on him carefully, closely. We did all we can, but I don't know, maybe he's unlucky. Otherwise, really, I mean, I remember only those 3 people, really. Everyone else, thousands of people, they simply uh, passed. Really, it's amazing. So you have total of 3 attempts within 1 calendar year from the moment you pay. So from the moment you pay, you have 12 months to take your PMP exam, and during those 12 months, you are allowed for you're entitled for 3 attempts. In case someone fails the first attempt, second attempt is not for free. You have to pay for it. Usually you pay half the price. So for example, if the first attempt costs $413 for developing countries, second attempt usually is $193. And the same for the third attempt. In case someone fails all 3 attempts, they will have to wait for 1 year until taking the exam again. Why? Because PMI doesn't want to take your money. They say maybe you're not ready. Take some time. Try to practice project management. Try to practice what you have learned on your projects. Check your errors, your mistakes, etc., etc. Okay. Some people don't want to wait 1 year. They find other ways how to take the exam again in less period or shorter time, but I'm not going to talk about that. Okay. So this is, how the exam retake policy in case someone fails their first attempt. All right. But let me tell you something. We noticed there is something positive about some people who failed their first attempt. Failing first attempt means now you have experience, more experience. Now, it is true that in the training we teach you everything. Our simulator puts you in conditions that are similar to the real exam. However, living the experience is different than just imagining it. That's why I think 99% of the people who fail the first attempt, they pass in the second attempt. Yes, I think 99%, which is quite great. Okay? All right. So this is a nutshell about the PMP exam, etc. And now we arrive to the last part of this session. Okay, don't forget there is a code. You want to check the different slides now. Maybe the code will appear on any one of the slides. We really hope that you're enjoying this session. So now, did the PMP question types change in the new ECO 2026? Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Now, I think there are around 9 or 10 types of questions. The PMP exam, you will have 180 questions. Now, I think around 150 or 155 questions, they are multiple choice, single response questions. It means you have a question with 4 possible answers and you pick only one of them. That's around 150, 155 questions in the exam. Maybe more. I'm just talking on average, 155 maybe on average, okay? Second type of questions is a multiple response questions. You have a question, you have 5 possible answers, maybe 4, usually 5, and you can pick 2 answers, 3 answers, etc. And then there is case study, okay? The case study section. So they give you a case of a project, a scenario of a project. Okay, it's usually a long scenario, like a case study. We have them already now. We have 12 case studies already now in our full training, full PMP training. We have 12 case studies. Okay, so it gives you a case study like project manager is working for a company that is launching a new smart home. So it puts you really in a, like even the other questions, they put you in a real project scenario. Like they are situational, but this is a case study. And then you will have a number of questions. Okay, usually 5 questions on average, maybe more, maybe less. Okay, and of course, there will be many different case study scenarios, and each case study will have its questions. You need to make sure that you understand these case studies, these scenarios, because all the questions they fall into that case study. So you have to follow through. All right. Maybe usually the questions they will appear one by one on the screen on the exam, not like this, one question next to another. Usually it's one after one. Okay, but they're connected to the same case study. Okay. Um, and yeah, the presentation of the case study and the questions can vary. This is just an example. All right. This is another type of questions. Then there is the graphic-based questions. This is a new type. Like here you have the scenario, and then here it gives you a graphic with various options, and then you have to pick the right answer, for example. So this is called graphic-based questions. We will have maybe additional videos on YouTube explaining these types of questions, definitely whenever we will have them ready. So yeah, stay tuned. Maybe in April, maybe in May, we'll see about that. Then you will have point and click. This is not really new. It already exists with the current ECO 2021. We call them the hotspot area. Like, it gives you graphic, and then you have, when you put the cursor, an area will appear, and then it's, you point and click which area contains the right answer. Okay, this is another type of question. In the PMP exam, you get one of these questions. In the PMP exam, usually it's 1 or 2. Usually it's 1. Okay. Also, this one you get usually 1 question. Okay, and then this is the new. Okay. Then there's the matching, or we call the drag and drop questions. Like for example, you have here few scenarios, and then few here roles. It could be anything else, and then you have to drag and drop here. See these gray boxes here? You drag the role and put it in the corresponding description. So, for example, here you have portfolio manager, project manager, functional manager, stakeholder, and description here, which role offers project input because they're affected by the activity or outcome of the project, which focus on providing management oversight for a business unit, which manages or coordinates management staff and project staff that may have reporting responsibilities, and which role leads the team and is responsible for achieving project objectives. Obviously, the last one is the project manager. So here you go, you click on the project manager, you drag it, and you drop it here. Managing management staff, programs, projects. This is obviously the portfolio manager, focusing on providing management oversight for a business unit. A business unit keyword, business unit is a keyword. So functional manager, and here offers project input because they're affected by the activity or outcome of the project. This is a stakeholder, obviously. Okay, so that's how it would look like in the exam. Now we have good news. The software which is used for the exam, it's called the OnView software. It will be updated very soon in the next few months or few weeks by OnView, by Pearson View. The company which facilitates the PMP exam for PMI is called Pearson View. The software used for the PMP exam is called OnView. Now we have access to it, the trial version. We have the trial version. We have even shared it on our YouTube channel. The trial version, you can go to YouTube right there, Ben Hamouda on view attached, Ben Hamouda on view. Then you get the video with the link to the trial version, and the trial version by from Pearson View. It will be updated, I think, in the next few weeks, few months, to reflect the new question types like this point and click, the graphic based questions, the case study scenario, etc. Okay, there is another new type of question, which is the pull down list. Okay, you have here a question, a scenario, and then you pull down to select the right answer. Okay, so this is called the pull down list, like a drop down list. Quite interesting one. All right, it can be used in the case study. All right, it can be associated with a case study, or it can be, for an independent question. And then the enhanced matching. Okay, the enhanced matching here gives you graphic, for example, like a burn down chart here, for example. Okay, and then it gives you here boxes, and then you have to drag and drop. Okay, so in which part of the burn down chart? For example, here we are behind schedule, so you have to click on the behind schedule and drop it here. Here in 200 here exactly we are on schedule, so you click on schedule and drop it here, etc. Okay, this is called enhanced matching. So it's not like this matching, which is only text. This is enhanced matching because it contains graphics. This is the difference between this matching and this matching. All right. Okay. And as we said, as soon as we find out about updates from OnView or Pearson View, we will share the link, of course, publicly with everyone. And here usually we just want to give you an overview of our 3-week PMP preparation plan. Every person who finishes the training with us. So usually our training is usually 4-week training. It's 4 weeks, 3 sessions per week, Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, in the evenings. And then when people finish the training, we tell them you have 3 weeks to prepare for your exam. If you follow this plan, you will pass. Really, you will pass. But you have to follow this plan. Okay, so we want to share with you in advance our plan. So we tell them in the first week, rewatch the full course videos, take your own notes so you can memorize what you studied with us, and then practice the 12 quizzes and the simulator. Each quiz contains 25 questions. Okay, based on the number of questions. That's for the first week. You have to rewatch the full course videos, yes, to understand what you've studied. In the second week, you watch the wrap-up sessions. Okay, 4 sessions that summarize the entire course. Those are additional sessions which are prepared for you in advance. Make sure you understand the PMI's mindset and tips and tricks. By the way, some people think that in the current version, the PMI mindset is the same, 80% the same, 20% enhanced. Okay, and there are new points in the mindset. And the full PMP training, the first 5 slides are always explaining the mindset, the 30 bullets or the 40 bullets in the PMI mindset. Then here's something new with the ECO 2026. Memorize page 114 of the PMBOK 8. This is the process Mambic table. Okay. Also understand and memorize the elimination techniques. Then practice 5 mock exams in the simulator. Always practice 5 mock exams, not less, not more. 5 will be enough. Especially in our exams 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, they are good, whether with the current version of ECO 2021 or with the next version, ECO 2026. And finally, practice time management and stress management. Why? That's because I think the second reason for people's failure in the PMP exam is they don't manage their time and their stress. First reason is not understanding PMI's mindset. Okay, not being able to really understand how PMI wants you to think as a project manager. And second reason is not being able to manage your time. So people lose time, whether on translation, whether on reading questions, they don't practice time. That's why we ask people in the 3rd week of preparation to take a vacation. Take 1 week vacation, really. If you want to pass, take 1 week vacation. Absolutely. All right. So you can practice 1 exam per day. Some people practice 2 exams per day. That's wrong. That's too much. That's exhausting yourself. 1 full exam per day. So we have 5 days here, and then in the simulator, you apply the time management techniques and the stress management techniques we share with you. Okay.